Hi and welcome to my Random Ruminations. This is my 5th attempt to record this. Why is it my 5th? Because I keep getting so angry that I stop being comprehensible. Why am I angry? Because it's budget day. The day in the year where the cabinet rolls out our budget, our national budget, and makes it quite clear to the country that they rule us. They don't lead us. They don't work on behalf of us. They don't work for us, despite the fact that we pay them and we elect them and we put them into that position. In fact that they rule us. They reign over us. When I was growing up, up until I was about 23, I genuinely believed we lived in a republic. I never believed we lived in a democracy, because we don't. We live in a republic. Republic is democratically elected proportional representation. By the people, from the people, by which I mean citizens are elected to represent their fellow citizens. It's the heart of what a republic is, making it really simple. But as time has gone by, I've actually come to realize, in some ways, we actually live in a constitutional monarchy. We don't bend the knee to a king or a queen, but we might as well, because every 5 years, maybe every 7 years, well, actually, let's face it, with Irish politics and how unstable it is, however many years we have between elections, we elect exactly the same type of people again and again and again. And the rulership just changes hands between two civil war parties. Two civil war parties who are identical. And not only are they identical, but they absolutely look down on and spit on the Irish people constantly. They spit on the citizens they're supposed to work for constantly. And the greatest emblem of that is budgetary secrecy. There are countries for whom having secrecy built into their budgetary system makes sense. America is a great example, so is the UK. France, Germany, Russia, Japan. Global powers. Peoples who have governments who have huge military spending and huge military oversight. It makes sense to keep the cards close to your chest and not announce to the world that you're reducing the size of your armed forces by 25% in 3 years. It makes sense not to say that. It makes sense not to say, oh, we're increasing spending on our missile fleet by 20% because some bozo in random countryistan has decided that our country really needs to be wiped off the face of the earth. It makes sense for those countries. We're not those countries. Realistically, we have no enemies. We don't. The last time this country had a real enemy was probably World War II, and the government at the time tried to cozy up to him. There's a great irony. Hitler considered the Irish people to be only marginally better than monkeys. And our government of the day sided with him, and we denigrated those people, those Irish people who had the balls to go and say, no, I'm not going to let this fucker win. Yeah. I honestly think that will go to our eternal shame as a nation. But most people will disagree with me on that. So why bother? No, we have no enemies. We don't. I'm sorry, we don't. There are plenty of people in this country that think Germany and the Bundestag and the whole lot are our enemy at the moment. They're not. We're less than a blip to them. We're less than an inch. The only people who think the Irish are a big deal are the Irish. We're not. We never have been, because we chose to step away from the global scene right at the beginning, and we've stayed there ever since. And the people who chose that we would step away from the public scene and not make a scene are the people who are still ruling us. It doesn't matter whether they're called Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael. They're exactly the same. There is no difference between Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael now, and the fact that we are still electing one or another of two Civil War parties who aren't any different from each other, it's madness. It's insanity. I don't know about anybody else, but my feeling is it's time for Civil War politics to go away. The Civil War was almost a century ago. How many people alive today can actually remember it? Not many. For my generation, it's ancient history, and what's more than that, it's barely history. It's been pretty comprehensively buried in our history. I did history in school. Do you know how much of the American Civil War at the time was, I think, 1.5 pages of the book. The Irish Civil War was half a page. War of Independence, yeah, it's important. The Civil War is more important because it has a greater impact on our country today. At least I think it does. But how many people can tell me much about it? Not many. We talk about the Civil War as if we understand it when we don't. And that's fine. It's in the past and it should be left there. But it can't be left there as long as we're electing two identical parties who are the political descendants of the two sides of the Civil War. And it's not ever going to go away until they go away. And the only way they'll go away is to amalgamate, which they're not going to do because they're still fighting a tribal war for no bloody reason. They're just fighting it in Dáil Éireann at our expense. And this is where we get back to budgetary secrecy. Budgetary secrecy is a symbolic crop, by which I mean riding crop. It's the stick. The budget itself, or the pageantry around the budget is the stick. The budget itself is sometimes the carrot. The stick is, we rule you. You put us here. We promised that we'd work for you, and as soon as we got into government, as soon as we formed a cabinet, we became your rulers. And it doesn't matter what you do in the future, because thanks to the party system and the party whip, thanks to the way in which we gag our TDs, it doesn't matter who you elect, the cabinet will always rule you. Budgetary secrecy is the cabinet's way of saying, you work for us, we don't work for you. You exist to service the Dáil, not the other way around. And it doesn't matter if individual TDs disagree with that. It doesn't matter if individual TDs want to see genuine political reform within the Dáil. It's not going to happen because we're ruled by the cabinet, and the cabinet like things the way they are. So, today is budget day, and I am going to completely and utterly ignore it because it's not worth the stress, it's not worth the anxiety, it's not worth the terror. It's not. Bastards. Oh, and Joni, go fuck yourself. Seriously. Just because you have a small fixed income does not mean you're not entitled to have something nice in your life. Maybe you should think about that when you look at your own rather expensive, publicly paid phone. Yeah, I'm going to stop now because I'm going to end up getting really, really, really angry, and I'm going to end up getting sued. So, happy budget day, gang. Bye.